collaboration with a French visual artist called Philippe Ramet. We had the chance to start this work together. He's strikingly doing things that are very interesting for us as neuroscientists, with no idea about neuroscience, coming to very similar perspectives, very similar approaches. And so I mostly did this work with Sebastian Dieguez, who is unfortunately not here, and was worked a lot on the links between art and essentially paintings and neuroscience, and we also had many good comments from Christophe Lopez, who is here. As a matter of introduction, I would just want to speak about what our field of interest in neuroscience of consciousness. So we are mostly interested on multisensory integration. When I speak about multisensory integration, I mean that we, to build our body image or body scheme, we need to integrate all the information coming from different inputs, from your skin, from the touch, from your vision, from hearing, and proprioception, and all this is integral to build your body image, to build your self-representation in space. And another sense which is commonly forgotten is the vestibular sense. It has been forgotten for years because it's hidden, basically. It's within the internal ear. And the internal ear is not only designed to listen. The part which is dedicated to listen is this little part looking like a snail, the cochlea. But all the other parts of the internal ear, what we call the vestibular system, is the organ which allows you to notice your motion within the space. And this apparatus is very well designed as it can code for movement in translation, linear movement, where I don't have a pointer, but with this here, the ventricle and saccule. These are the two organs to detect motion, linear motions. And these three other circles are the semicircular canals, which allow you to detect motion, circular motion in three different axes. So you have three different ways to move in the space by circular motion, which is roll, that way, yaw, this way, or pitch, this way. So it has all these degrees of freedom of motion within the space. And the vestibular system is a very important organ to disentangle a fundamental question, which is not only the question of neuroscience, it's something also philosophically quite important. Is the environment stable? Or am I stable? Am I moving? Or is the environment moving? It's always a question of pure referential, if you rely on an ego-centered referential or allocentered one. And also this vestibular organ is very important to code for this internal sense of gravity we all have in a very unconscious way, because the world is moving. there are some physics laws that you have. We all have a sense of verticality, which is not innate. I mean, it's another question, but it develops in a very unconscious way, and all our environment is organized for verticality, an environment vertical for our feeling of verticality. I just want to quote also the two studies which are relevant for the work I'm going to present just afterwards, about self-disturbances that can occur in patients and in normal people. In particular situations, you can have disturbances of your location within the space, of your self-location, and your identification to your own body. There is the case of out-of-body experience, when you can have the feeling to see yourself from above, from the ceiling, from another perspective, which has occurred in many cultures. There have been many reports of that. We have been investigating these cases in scientific and medical conditions. I don't go further on that. And in the lab conditions, you can also recreate a minima, a kind of disembodiment like that. So if you have a person here who wears a head-mounted display, and in this head-mounted display, you can see yourself from the back because there is this camera behind you that films you from behind, and you can see yourself from the back. And if the experimenter is touching your back, and you see visually someone touching your back at the same time in a synchronous way, you can feel the touch at the virtual location on the back of the virtual body of your virtual image. You can really get a real touch sensation, which is strikingly not in your own body. And that's work from Binya Lenganagel, who's here today as well. Here. Science. Nice. And about the question of being able to detect motion in space, so you have always something, two senses that are really interacting. Mostly it is vision and the vestibular system, and they compete somehow to show you if it is in an environment who is moving or if it is you. And I just filmed that in the train, and so in the bar area in the TGV you have a mirror. You watch from the window the environment moving. I mean, you can hide half of this image, and you see the motion going in a certain way. If you have no acceleration, to your vestibular system is not activated. You have just the vision. You can feel moving in one way, but if you just watch within the mirror, you can really feel like moving the other way. It's really try. It's really strikingly. It's very strong. And there are similar things when you are waiting for your train to start. And the other train is starting, and you have the impression that you are moving, but you're not. And there are always this competition between vestibular and vision to indicate you who is moving, you or the world. So, very relative things. And to illustrate the thing, I'm showing you a first creation from the artist I'm speaking about, which represents quite well this idea. I mean, some experiments like that actually have been done in monkeys to show that you can create illusory motion using other cues. So here is wind. If you get wind in the air like that, you can really feel a translation like if you're flying. And this is what he represents here. It's really close to what I was explaining to you before. And scientists have been also interested about, very small, about tricks to change your feeling of gravity. And if someone is in supine position, that's the first graph, with a system of mirrors looking at the scene on the ceiling, you can get the impression, the feeling of being tilted, not being supine, but being tilted forward and looking at a vertical scene. You can also get what they call levitation illusion. Maybe it's a bit too much to say like that, but you can. You have some other tricks using tilted rooms. So you have a room with seeing paintings on the wall, whatever, and you can tilt these rooms and tilt the people in that way that they feel the verticality while they are not in the gravity vector, but they feel the verticality in very different ways. You can get very strange feelings like having no weight within your arms. It's very strange, very interesting feeling. Also in astronauts, it's known where you don't have the gravity referential, you can lose the sensation of the direction, you can forget where it's up, where it's down, where it's left or right. And also Christophe has worked in the perception of others' body image, and he has been shown that gravity is important to feel the instability of a virtual body image, and also yourself, your own position within the space. You don't judge the same if you are lying down or if you are in an upright position. And to illustrate this purpose, so now I begin with the creation from Philippe Ramet. So here you have what we call a perceptual rivalry situation, and maybe some of you have seen some other perceptual rivalry images. We use classically in vision those images, the bistable images where you can see a rabbit or a duck, these kind of things. Here you have a different kind of rivalry. It's a rivalry for verticality. So the presence of this body image within the environment being very stable and very salient, because we are used to detect body shapes, is sufficient to disturb you to feel what is the verticality here. And Philippe is calling that a visual quiproquo. You have also other examples here. Some of you are smiling. That's the idea. he's a bit ironic himself. He's not taking himself very seriously. There is a very humoristic way, but you can go beyond. You can go beyond, and you can try to see what you can do more. I mean, the artist is proposing half of the step, the other half is yours. And from a scientific perspective, what I'm interested here is that finally you have a highly specialized visual system, which is kind of expert to detect vertical body shapes and the gravitational constraints that are applied to these bodies. And it's sufficiently silent in a scene to compete for the real verticality here. Even if behind the environment is quite clear that it's not the vertical, the real verticality, but this gives pressure on your perception of verticality according to the axis of the body. Here is another example. It's even stronger, the illusion here, because here you have this impression of falling, and it's like the apple from Newton. We are used to know that if you let an object falling down, it will fall down, yeah, it will fall down. And if there is no falling dynamics, this object is maybe less relevant for you to disentangle the real verticality, but if there is this motion dynamic within the image, it can really make a kind of pressure for you to have the impression that the verticality is that way. Actually, when Philippe was doing this thing, it has been very funny because some people saw him in a horizontal way, actually on the beach, like flying, and some people were screaming on the beach. Here are other examples. I go faster because I still have several slides. And his most famous picture is this one. It has been done in Hong Kong, and it's interesting to know what goes beyond humor and autodérision, I put it in French. And because there is more. It's not only that the artist wants to create a quiproquo, he also wants people to be able to solve this quiproquo. And you can notice that in most of images, there's a big face crispation, which finally indicates that it's not natural. And also, you can it lets some cues to know here behind the shoe, there is the object that allows him to stay in that position. Also, you see a bit of the jacket going down. So if people pay attention, they can disentangle the scenes. And also, behind that, you have to know that all that is a real work. I mean, there is no Photoshop at all. He does that for real. And it's a kind of ritual. He puts himself in scene each time with his suit, and he makes the effort. I mean, he's a guy with a lot of anxiety. He has a lot of fears, of doubts, and very modest person. But he wants to engage himself within all this creation, and all that is real. I mean, he's fixated on the wall. And after that, I know that he has a lot of problems, even epileptic issues after several of these experiments. And actually, it all comes from dreams. All this inspiration is from dreams. And so, yeah, here again, he's facing a lot of all these fears. There are also some other creation where he put himself within the sea, fixated on the ground. I mean, it's very terrific things. And all these fears, almost down, all these fears and these anxiety issues. There are a lot of ego problematics of perspective in the vision of the artist, and finally this leads almost to the creation of doubles. So when you have doubt about yourself, about the realness of yourself, finally some ideas of double body can emerge. There are close links, as we have also in pathology in our field of interest. We have tried also one of these machines. He created, he invented this machine to see yourself. But actually, so here is Sebastian, I'm my colleague. So I also have a picture of myself, but I look too much like Pocahontas, so I prefer to put my colleague. As I'm kind, I also put a picture where he looks good. And then there's also Philippe Ramet on the image on the right. And with it, you have a permanent feeling of being observed by someone with yourself. Basically, you see your own gaze permanently. You see naturally the scene, but you have also two eyes yourself, your own eyes from a mirror looking at yourself. And it's really, for us, it's really close to some kind of paranoid experience, as he can escape himself, his body, playing with the visual perspective and verticality. And I'll let you with this image. It's with, in French, it's cerveau réfléchissant, meaning a reflecting brain, which is a kind of joke in French because réfléchissant can be also to think. So I think you for your attention.